Hello, everyone. This is Joanne Lantz, and I'm here with another episode of Masters of Extraordinary Proficiency, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And do I have an amazing person for you to meet? I would like to introduce you to Meb Keflezighi, who is the only individual who has ever won the New York City Marathon, the Boston Marathon, and an Olympic medal in the marathon. He is also a very proud dad of three beautiful daughters, stunning daughters, a husband, and the uh, founder of a nonprofit organization called the Meb Foundation. Just an amazing person. Hi, Meb. Welcome.
Thank you, Joanne. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I did I pronounce your last name properly, Keflezighi?
You got it. It looks intimidating. It's like a marathon, 26 miles. I don't know if I can do it. And Keflezighi, you say, I don't know if I can pronounce it, but Keflezighi is pretty phonetic if you can say it.
It is. I did practice it a little bit, even though I am a big fan, and everyone knows you and loves you as Meb. That's normally when we say Meb, they know who you are.
Well, I appreciate it. And, it's Keflezighi or when I first came to the United States, that we will talk about later, but I have different kind of names. At one point it was Mo, at another time was delete everything and just leave Tom, Tom, so I'm used to different names, but, after running for so many years to my fellow runners and others, I'm known as simply as Meb, but my last name is pronounced Keflezighi, as you said earlier.
Thank you. We spoke, you mentioned your journey, and you were born in Eritrea, and not many people know where that is, at least not many people here in my organization and in the States. And you traveled from Eritrea, from Asmara to Milan to San Diego. Could you share with individuals how that journey came about? It's really fascinating.
So every day is a learning experience. Eritrea is found in the Horn of Africa, above Ethiopia, below the Red Sea, and Sudan is the north of it. And I was born there. I was there until I was 10 years old. And at the time, Eritrea was in the middle of a 31-year war with Ethiopia for independence. And my dad was wanted by the Ethiopian soldiers. So he's going to get prison or get killed. So my mom had the courage to kind of tell him, if you're prison or killed, it's not going to be any good to us. So might as well try to flee for another country, see if you can make it. But it's not like booking the flight or hotels and things like that. It's just you have a bag of barley, canteen of water, about $20 worth of money, and stick for protection and matches for in case you need to start a fire for the hyena. So he's just in the wilderness. I know you guys are in Maine, I believe, and no, it's whenever there's forest and things like that, you gotta make your way path. And he has taken that very important step uncomfortably because he don't want to leave behind his wife and 5 kids and one on the way. There's no electricity, no running water. There's no way of telling what the baby gender will be, but they had a talk among each other, my mom and dad, to have peace that if he makes the safe land, that he would look after us, and to call him the baby. If it's a boy, call him Be'imnet. If it's a girl, call her Amina, which means with trust and with belief. And fortunately for my dad, that over 225 miles walk to Sudan, a lot of mountains, a lot of trees, sleeping sometimes in the trees, crossing his legs. So if he's on the ground, he would be a meal to wild animals. So he has to do that, unfortunately. But he made it safely. But the biggest journey was not the journey itself, but leaving behind a wife and kids behind. But once he made it to Sudan, he made his way to Italy. He lived in Italy for another 2.5 years. And we never saw my dad for 5 years. From the age of 5 till I was 10, I didn't have any contact with my dad besides maybe little pictures that he sent us. But all he can send was clothes, asking the parents in Italy, "Hey, how old is your son or your daughter?" And he would ask, and then he would measure that clothes or shoes, and he would send it to us. But the Italians, they live very well. They have great food and a gelato with dessert, and we in Eritrea barely had any food to eat, to satisfy our stomach or hunger. So when those were challenging moments for him and for us. But fortunately, after about 5 years of separation, he flew from Italy to Athens. We flew from Asmara to Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, and then to Athens. And we met him there. It was the first time that I ran. Remember, my dad, after 5 years of separation, I ran into him and I gave him a hug. And he goes, "Hey, Marhawi," which is my youngest brother, 4 years younger. And I said, "No, it's Mabraton," which is my full name. I'm like, "Mev." And he's like, my son, he just went to tears because he was expecting us to be taller, bigger, and wide, muscles a little bit. So he was devastated. But my mom kind of made him come to reality, saying that, hey, just make sure all six of them are here, because for her, first time flight, first time the language barrier and the journey itself, it was difficult. And for the 5 years, she had to struggle and been the husband and the wife of the household and the village without electricity and water. Just make sure everybody's safe here, and now we can start our journey together.
You shared a heartwarming story about an Italian PhD doctor who helped facilitate your journey, at least to get you to Italy. And I think it's just so profound. Would you mind sharing that with everyone?
Absolutely. Dr. Luigi Bendici is his name, and my dad was workaholic. He did everything to the best that he can, and he became friends with his boss. And Dr. Bendici asked my dad, "Why you work so hard?" And my dad told him the story. I have 6 kids and a wife to save from the war, because during the war at that time, my oldest brothers were getting older. I'm the third oldest, and they were going older. And then in Ethiopia, they come and surround the village. If you look old enough to hold a gun, they're gonna take you. So my mom was kind of, when she talked to him on the phone, she would express that to him. So when he talked to Dr. Brindici, his boss, he says, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" My dad asked. He says, "Yeah, what can I do for you?" And he said, "Can you loan me money to save my family?" And he said, "How much do you need?" Dr. Brindici, that is, my dad told him, "I needed 10 million lira in 1986. That's about 6,000 US dollars. And Dr. Brindici said, "Is that to save one person, like your sons, or is that to save everybody?" And my dad, with the help of his former girlfriend, Leta Michael Tawalde, they had saved money. And he said, with that 10 million lira, we can save the whole family. And he says, "Well, come back on Wednesday." That conversation happened Friday. "Come back on Wednesday." And Dr. Brindici gave him a full envelope of cash of 10 million lira. And he told him, "This is not a loan, this is a gift." And that's how we got saved. And that's when we met him in Athens for the first time after 5 years separation. So Dr. Brinci, I'm pretty sure I met him when I was 10 years old, but my dad wrote him letters when we came to the United States. He informed him every time we had success. "Hey, Futsum has graduated high school. He got the most outstanding student. Mev is running." And I hope I can cover it later on, but after 2011, I remember I went to Italy and I wanted to visit Dr. Brindici, because he'd been so magnificent transformation to our lives. And unfortunately, I met his son, but unfortunately, I missed him by 2 weeks. He passed away 2 weeks prior. But I did remember the letter that my dad wrote, and my card, my kind of trading card or poster on his desk, that winning the USA Championship and the winning the silver medal.
We're going to go all the way to San Diego, and your parents were laser focused on education for your siblings. I think you were the second child. You have an older brother, and education was the most important thing for your parents. And with their support, you went to UCLA, you graduated from UCLA, and in the same year, you became a US citizen. Was that year that you graduated and became a citizen a hydration stop on your journey of life, or do you see that as a turning point?
When I became citizen, it was a turning point. But before that, the turning point for our family of hope was, I'll show you with you, Joanne, this little trophy is the size of my hand. You can see it's not that big, but
Yeah.
this is a trophy that says Roosevelt Junior High, most outstanding student, 1988, Futsum Berhan, Rusam Keflezighi. And this trophy meant the hope for all of us in the United States. What my parents displayed this trophy on top of the TV to just say, "See, in America, if you work hard, good things will happen. So make sure you utilize the opportunities, make sure you persevere with the challenges and adversities. And if Futsum can win this trophy through his hard work, he started ninth grade without knowing the language. You guys are younger, maximize the opportunities, great things can happen." And that trophy was on top of the TV until I won the silver medal. Otherwise, that's the most profound and meaningful trophy in our family, because what the meaningful of the land of opportunity is: work hard,
Mhm.
persevere, and pursue for excellence.
Your siblings all have. In fact, I think your oldest brother, is he the doctor? Or tell us a little bit about your siblings and what that trophy represents in terms of your family and their
This
accomplishments.
this trophy doesn't come in easy. My dad woke us up about 4:30 in the morning before 7:30 o'clock class to learn English, the dictionary. So hard work does pay off. The Futsum, who was the trophy, he gave me the trophy, but he's electrical engineering with from UC
Okay.
San Diego. And then Aklilu, he went to Santa Barbara and Monterey. He got his MBA. And then I'm the runner, the least accomplished one. And then my sister, who's a doctor, and then Howie, who is also a law degree from UCLA. And so my American dream of the hard work is to have gone to most prestigious schools, and from engineering to doctor to educators to firms, law degree, and things like that. All 9 out of the 10 brothers and sisters have gone to college and graduated, and most of them have gone second to masters or doctorate in that regard. So hard work does pay off. We felt very fortunate that the United States gave us opportunities to excel our potential. And, we, to this day, on October 21st, 1987, we celebrate when we first came to San Diego, because that was the kind of the journey that started. Most people think I went there for the running, but my sister Ruth was living there. That's end up, she sponsored out with the Red Cross to come to San Diego. I wasn't a runner yet. It was all started at Roosevelt Junior High, 7th grade PE class. I wanted to get A and a T-shirt and my picture in the gym. And the my coach PE teacher at the time, Coach Dick Lord, said, if you run hard, you're going to get A or B. And my parents wanted A and excellent citizenship. I don't want to disappoint them, so I ran as hard as I can. And to his imagination and to his surprise and my surprise, I ended up running 5:20, and that's when my God-given talent was discovered, and the rest is history.
Ran a 5:20, and I think you had shared that someone said that you could be a marathoner, and you were like, well, what's a marathoner?
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty funny.
when I won the when I won the 7th grade PE class, everybody gave me high five. So the power sports is amazing. And then I made a cross country team in high school, and people used to say, you can keep that pace for a long time. Mike Anderson was his name, actually, Jason's dad, who was my teammate at San Diego High. And he goes, you're going to be a beautiful marathoner. And another person named Ron Tabb, when I was a sophomore in high school, you're going to be a beautiful marathoner. I'm like, how far is that? They're like 26.2 miles. No, I'm a miler. I wanted the mile. I don't want to do 26.2 miles. That's too far. But, I eventually became a marathoner, and I'll tell you that story a little bit later.
You graduated from UCLA, became an American citizen. You represented the United States in the Athens Marathon during the Olympics, won a silver medal, first American in over 30 years. Prior, I think Joni Benoit won at the LA Olympics for the marathon, and I think nearly 40 years prior to winning your silver. Frank Shorter, last American gentleman who representing the U.S. Won the marathon in the Olympics. What was it like for you to receive your medal on the Olympic stand in Athens? Talk about coming circle for you. What were the emotions like for you and for your family?
The emotion to wear that USA jersey just to be an Olympian gives you the dream came true. That's what the pinnacle of any athlete is. But to win a medal, you have to work hard and persevere and discipline and dedicated. And I remember before Athens, I told you a story when my parents were there, my oldest brother Futsum and Howie were in Sydney, Australia at the Olympics. And I was running the 10K there, and I was happy to wear the USA uniform for the first time. And my dad excited, son, as an immigrant, now you go to represent your adopted country and you got to win a gold tonight. I'm like, Dad, I don't know about winning a gold. I had the flu that was going around the village. I barely made the qualifying to the final. There was a prelim for the 10K. I said, Dad, not today, but some other times. Like, son, don't think negative. You got to think positive. I said, Dad, those guys are running 26 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm running 28 minutes, which is a minute and a half slower on the on the track. I hope I didn't get laughed, but he was disappointed. But don't take it negative. And I remember saying to him, not today, but hopefully in the future I can. To your point, those first circle in Athens, to be able to, where the Olympics started, I didn't know what the word Olympic meant when Coach DeClore told me that I'm going to be an Olympian in seventh grade when after I ran 5:20, and to be in Athens where the Olympics started, to run the marathon, the first time to potentially medal since Frank Shorter 1976. And it was pinching my skin because at the same time, is this really happening? And it's not like 100 meter, you kind of go to the finish lines to see if you medaled or you didn't medal. Here you have miles or 5K to think, I am going to medal. I'm going to represent our country. Our flag's going to go on the podium. It's going to stand when, and with 1 mile to go, I remember saying, let me go for the gold. I threw my hat away and went for it. Stefano Boldini from Italy were just doing an amazing stuff. So I ended up getting second place, which I have the medal here to show you.
Wow.
For
Wow,
you.
it's gorgeous. Look at that.
So to be able to see our flag when they didn't play the national anthem because Italy won gold, I was silver, but to see the flag risen, it just gave me amazing opportunity for me and our country to be displayed at the international level, which hasn't had happened since Frank Shorter 1976, which is 28 years. So it was a flashback of memories to living in Eritrea, to meeting my dad in Athens, giving him a hug, and then also the training in seventh grade, and all the hard work that happened in Mammoth Lakes where I used to train. Dina Kasser won the bronze medal the week before, so I was inspired by that. And there's Anait Hadeso who won a first medal for Eritrea, so, and I am winning the medal for our country. So it was kind of like a movie, going back to that childhood memory and Snapchat of flashbacks. And I feel great and honored to be able to have won the medal for us.
And I see you have the wreath above you, and I'm wearing my wait a minute here, Boston Marathon jacket. You and I have something in common, believe it or not. I was running the 2014 Boston Marathon on the same day that you ran the marathon, and I think I was between mile 3 and 4 when you won the gold for the Boston Marathon. And that was the year after the bombing. The crowds, at least the back of the pack where I was, the crowds were amazing. The security was so intense. Did you notice any difference? And you ran the Boston, you won it, first American. I could go on and gush about it. Was there any difference between this particular marathon and all the others that you have run and won?
Joanne, yourself, myself, and 36,000 other people wanted to do something positive that day. They wanted to own Wilson Street, the streets of Boston, for something positive that was taken away from us in 2013. Nobody wanted 2013. I was there. I missed the bombing by 5 minutes from the grandstand, so it was personal. And for 365 days, I was thinking, what can I do? What can I do positively? And I was scheduled to run in 2013, but I got injured, but I never get to see my fellow runners come across the finish line. So I sat there for 4 hours plus, but then I had an appointment. I left. So Bonnie Ford from ESPN asked me, are you going to come back next year? Are you scared? I said, I'm going to come back. I would love to bring my family into these things but I hope to be healthy enough to win it for the people. I remember telling her that evening after the bombing. So to all to come together, yes, the security was tough. In 2013, the security was not bad. I mean, I remember going to the finish line. I asked the police I had a live interview on Boston Street. So let me go through to the Fairmont Copley and then, get changed up and come back. And then they were, lenient, I guess. But that's what it is, though. We runners, we are harmless and one not way, but others, unfortunately, don't think the same way we do. And in 2014, I know it's going to be the fence, the security was going to be the people, how everybody came to support, to make sure from 36,000 deep runners, but also spectators and family and supporters to want to make sure that point to point from Hopkinton to Boylston, it was filled up. I mean, it was the security itself with the crowd cheering everybody from the front of the back, the middle of the pack, or the back of the pack to be able to encourage us. And I felt blessed that God chose me to be able to be the first one to come across the finish line, just to trail a little bit blazing for the people that are coming before us. And I remember doing crossing at the finish line or coming to the Boston where the bombing happened. And, according to experts, I didn't have much of a chance to win it, less than 1% chance. But I believe in myself and my team and my training. And I thought it was going to be my last Boston Marathon. So I was going to, my goal was to win top 3, a personal best. I did all three. And to this day, that's my fastest marathon I ever ran. I ran 26 of them, but that's the one that stands out. And I feel that was the most meaningful victory. And I feel that's such a great honor, a tear of joy. And I remember I came across the finish line, looking at the heavens to be able to say thank you for this opportunity. But I also had a bigger purpose to run because I wrote the victims' names on my bib that went viral in the race that I wanted to honor them. So to win the Boston Marathon, not only for the runners, but for the city but also especially for the victims, great honor.
There was a great cheer in the back when the news came across to all of us that you won an American winning. You're carrying the victims on your chest, or actually on your back. Less than a 1% chance for winning. I love how you said that it was your training, your belief in yourself, and the belief of others in you that allowed you to cross that line. That's really something. Then the year after,
I know you see the wreath, but I remember also, since you went extra miles to be able to wear the jacket from the Boston Marathon, I wanted to show you that special medal. That was an honor, that wreath, that to be able to share that with you guys and your group.
That's a lot more stunning than the one I received for finishing, but that's gorgeous. Thank you for sharing that. Now, then the year after, you did run Boston one more time. It was a little bit different. You struggled in that race, and yet you persevered. You're probably always going to be known for the film clip of you're doing the push-ups at the end of the race. Would you explain to everyone what happened and why did you do push-ups?
At the Boston Marathon?
I think it was Boston, wasn't it, the year after?
I did that at Boston. I ran that, but the push-up was probably at the Olympic Games in 2016.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
But no, it's okay. But 2020, to be able to be, Boston Marathon is the Olympic for the average runners. We are fortunate to go to the Olympics, but for the average person, hey, I can't go around the block. I can't do 5K. I can't do 10K or half marathon. Then the Olympics is the Boston Marathon, because once they do a marathon, they're like, let me see if I can qualify for Boston. Just like the Olympic qualify, you enter, or you do a charity work. So to be able to wear the #1 bib at the Boston Marathon as a defending champion, and for the crowd to come out again like they did in 2014 to say thank you, and have my hats off to them, and it was just amazing because the support and the unity, and Bostonians know their sports. On Patriots Day, on Monday, it's a holiday, and to be able to just celebrate it with them was great. And yeah, I mean, the push-up though, I don't, sometimes you kiss the ground, but when you have run 26.2 miles, when you bend your knees, your hamstring might not wake up, so it's easier to do a push-up. And the Rio Olympics, I fell and tripped also, and I did 3 push-ups for my daughters as well.
Oh. You were training for the Olympics again after the marathon, and that was training for Rio. I think it was for Rio. And during the trials, you broke your hip. And in those same trials, your dear friend and training partner, Ryan Shay, tragically had a heart attack and passed away. How do you I don't have words, first of all, to describe what that had to be like, both with your injury, the death of a dear friend. How do you persevere and overcome that, both the injury and the grief?
I always say prehab instead of rehab for injuries, and you try to do the best that you can, seize the moment. So with Ryan Shay, it was in 2007, before after I won silver medal. I was hoping to go to Beijing and win another medal for our country, but the trials were in November of 2007. And on Thursday, before Saturday race, I remember having a candid visit with Ryan Shay and Alicia Shay, his widow now, that we spent like 45 minutes in the lobby just talking about life in general. And when I got to that starting line, go to the bus to go to the starting line, I remember just that seat next to him was open. I said, Ryan, is that seat taken? And maybe his wife would come down. He said, no, it's open. You can sit there. So I sit there. We chatted. Look at this New York City Marathon, where the trial says we own the city. We are escorted by the police and going to the square, where the main streets are, where the start line was, and then after we got back to our zones to listen to our music, get into the zone, and then how he told me, like, going to Kenya, how with the USA cross country team, how the bus and the United States bus would not stop on the streets, so that police would escort them. So, and I remember talking about that. And then we get back to our train thought, get ready for the race, and I was sitting next to him, and then next thing is, the ambulance got in the way about 10 miles into the race. And I'm like, why didn't they close the road? Why is the ambulance here? I didn't know what was going on. But unfortunately, I realized later on that he had a cardiac arrest and passed away. And I finished 8th place. So coming to the finish line, I don't know anything that has happened. I finished the race, and a good friend of mine that I knew was like, do you know what happened to Ryan? And I was thinking about Ryan Hall. Maybe it was a missed day. So did he fall? Did he whatever? And now he goes, no, Ryan Shay. And he goes, he passed away. And I'm like, then it's just, you can't control yourself. I collapsed to the ground. I cried hysterically, and people have to help me get back up on my feet. And then I was limping, and I didn't know I have pelvic stress fracture at this point yet. I just know that devastated because of the emotion of losing my good friend who I trained in San Diego in Mammoth, and I was sitting next to him on the bus. All those things in a split of 2-3 hours gone. So it is hard to overcome, hard to put in words, but somehow, some way, you gotta move forward. And I remember I told Howie, my brother, to go look after his wife, just make sure. I can't walk, I can't go anywhere. So he looked up, and she was checked out already. And before I left the stadium, though, I remember, not the stadium, the hotel, I was on my knees and elbows. For whatever reason, I couldn't bear weight on my body. And it was only 10 weeks later that I realized I had pelvic stress fracture, because I was not concerned going to the Olympics or about my well-being after life is gone from you. So it kind of puts things in perspective, and you don't think things for granted anymore. So, but I saw about 50 doctors, MD and a chiropractor, to try and figure out what it was. And I said, you know what? Before I left the stadium, my wife and I prayed and said, you know what? I know internally there was deeper than what it was in the race exemplified. So I knew down deep there was more in the tank, but it didn't show it on that race day. So I said, New York City Marathon will be my Olympic. I can't go to Beijing because I don't qualify, but I got to set my goals and see if I can execute. And after about a year and a half of physical therapy and building together and working hard and doing the right thing, go back to fundamentals, doing the drills, the ice bath, the stretching, and kind of almost rebuild my body from scratch again, and to be able to run the New York City Marathon. And it was no American has won in 27 years, and it gave me great pride to be able to wear that USA jersey, just like I would have in the Olympic, and to be able to come Central Park chanting USA, USA, and to be able to win this medal. And I did the cross in his honor, what he felt and had that cardiac arrest. So what his bench is. So for me, I said, Ryan, give me the strength, push me forward. So I usually use people who are no longer with us, or that are with us, that are struggling, to give me their strength to do some amazing things. And I feel very fortunate to have won that race for all of us.
You had this injury, the stress fracture, that you only found out all these weeks, months after the race. You had the sadness and the grief of Ryan, and that, and so many people have both physical injury and emotional loss at the same time. And, you're an inspiration, because you came back after that, going back to all the fundamentals, winning the New York City Marathon. And you are the only person in the world ever to win New York City, to win Boston Marathon, and to medal in the Olympics. You've accomplished all of this, and then you go on and you start the MEB Foundation, Maintaining Excellent Balance. Would you share with individuals what the MEB Foundation is and what it does?
What the MEB Foundation is, when we started in 2010, Maintaining Excellent Balance through health, education, and fitness, the young kids, because as you are a fellow runner, every weekend before the pandemic had 20,000, 30,000, sometimes 50,000, like the New York City Marathon, enjoying the benefit of healthy fitness to be able to live a good health lifestyle. So with the budget cuts at schools, sometimes especially the underprivileged kids don't have those opportunities. So through the MEF Foundation, we try to encourage motivational speaking for the people that need motivation, and for the others, if they need shoes or scholarships and equipments to help them. Some people never had tennis shoes in their life, and just to let them start. And then if I'm in place, I show them the drills, the stretches. And I really believe through the MEF Foundation, maintaining some balance to health education allows them to be a better students. If they're better students, they're gonna be good citizens, and a good citizens will become positive contributors to society. So it's the key is though to start at the early stage to be able to do hard work, opportunities, perseverance, and patience, and pursue for excellence. I think it's important for them to young kids to know that, because as a profession, or for people like yourself, they want to finish a marathon, they want to do the best they can, the dedication, the hard work, and the commitment that goes into it. But also to think clear when you are running those, the camaraderie that brings people together for something positive is important.
We're going to make a donation after this to the MEB Foundation. Just prior to COVID in 2019, you provided 7,000 pairs of shoes to youth, running shoes. I think I read that. And I was thinking about how this could be so important for them getting through COVID, when potentially running and health is one of the life-saving things for mental health, especially going through this period when we're all shut in.
Joanne, the 7,000 pair of shoes was earlier than that, but it is important to do, because you see people walking in the neighborhood, or they're running or walking. They just, whether you need vitamin D, or whether you need oxygen, or you just need air to be able to breathe outside. So I have seen more people doing as family. Sometimes the mom and the son, or father and daughter, or together to do walking, because when we was confined to certain areas, it's important to go. So we hope after this opening that we can do more things to those and encourage them, because it is a lifestyle, not just because you were confined in an environment, but to walk or to run is an important part of your daily life. Stretching is an important part of life. Nutrition is an important part of life. So to be able to be cumulative with that with the MEF Foundation to educate young kids, but the kids can lead the parents. Sometimes the parents lead the kids. So it just depends. I'm a father of three, and our kids are leading us to the soccer world now. We go there, and when we go there, sometimes I will run my 4 or 5 miles while they're practicing or while they're playing before the game. So if it was somewhere else, maybe you'll do it. And many other parents, whatever the sport the kids might take them, it's good to go for a walk. You're going to be there for an hour practice or 40 minutes for practice. You might enjoy doing that. So at the same time, I think it's important to learn from each other and give it back, because for me, I think with the MEF Foundation, I hope we can do a lot more going forward, just because it's an integral part of the human society to be able to be a positive contributor. Whether you see somebody say good morning, that's positive, because sometimes it's cold, it's tough, and you don't know if somebody's going to be there. But if they give you thumbs up or high five, it energizes you and makes you say, oh, that was nice. It starts your day brightly.
What advice do you have for young children as they go on their long journey of life?
For young kids, it's a ritual and habits. I think, at least we all wake up in the morning, brush our teeth, and it feels good. And the same thing with young kids, do your chores, do your work. And if you stick to it, whatever works for you, life is a learning experience. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have adversity. You're going to have challenges. But get back to that routine that works, makes you happy at the end of the day.
Sounds like it's advice both for children and for their parents as well. Ned, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
People ask me that question a lot. When I was in college, after college, and I hope to be in a better place. I hope God has a good plan for me, because I'm a believer. But at the same time, I always tell people I just have to surround myself with good people. When you surround yourself with good people, amazing things happen. The future is brighter. My dad always says, "Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are." So I hope to be in a good environment with, in 5 years. I'll be 51 years old, and enjoying hopefully retirement, but spending more time with my kids. And also do something with the sport of running, because the sport has done an amazing thing for my life. The camaraderie that it has brought into my life, and with the MEF Foundation, I'm still young, but at the same time, we hope we can influence people not only in the United States, but also in Eritrea or Italy or other places that can use those benefits.
You will be that person to some young man who has a family someday, and change their life as your family and lives were changed back in Italy as well. Meb, I have so many more questions, but we don't have any more time. You truly are a person who has done extraordinary things, and I can't thank you enough for giving me so much of your valuable time. Again, I'm a total fan, and I just want to say thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Joanne. I hope we can meet in person one of these days at a big marathon gathering. And thank you to you and your company for, I was learning a little bit when I was in Mammoth about Farmer's Almanac, and what is that? In English and I remember how can they predict 6 months or so how much snow Mammoth's gonna get and things like that. So I know you have a great company that you're leading and your employees. I wish you guys all the best and thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you.